Alright guys, so we're going to be building a new house here. This is for a friend of mine. We're going to be on this job for a while. First thing I got to do is clear a driveway right through here, because the house is going to be up in the back about 250 feet from here. So they have an existing house here that's going to be demolished when we're done. We're going to build the new house first, let them move in, and then we'll demolish the old house. So we just got to clear all this brush out of here. Got to knock down a whole bunch of trees. And in general, just need to make a driveway going up, and then everything else that's involved in a house from there. So it's kind of late in the day. I don't really feel like getting a chainsaw out. I'm going to just rip down a couple of these trees here. Gotta be careful. There's a lot of things to hit around here. Just until we get out back, and then it won't be so bad. But right now, let's just... Basically, I just want to clear enough to get my machines and trucks and trailers out of the driveway, and then we can kind of relax from there. Tight right now. They just don't have much of a driveway. But we're going to work with it, and we're going to expand very rapidly here. Right now you can barely get 2 cars at one time, but we need to be able to get triaxles, concrete trucks, trailers, trucks. As usual, I'm going to take all the brush, put it aside for right now, until I get a well-established driveway that I can run back and forth and get rid of this stuff. There's enough land up back that we can get rid of this stuff, but right now, I just want to get it out of the way. There's also going to be a lot of rock. You guys probably saw that I bought a jackhammer. We're definitely going to need it. There's like pieces of chain link fence all over the place. Keep climbing them. But right there, it's all rock. literally almost hitting the power lines coming in, so I couldn't bring anything bigger. I wouldn't want anything smaller, it would just take too long. It's literally the perfect machine for doing this. Once I get things cleared out, I may bring my bigger machine over, but right now there's just no room for it. I think tomorrow we'll bring the skid steer, some attachments over. My pole saw for today. To give you a little background story on this house, this has been something that I've been trying to get going for like 2 years now. So this house has no foundation. They just took 2x4s, slapped them on the ground and started building. And what we're gonna do, what we were originally gonna do was build a big addition on it and then tear down the rest of the building. So we were going to actually pretty much have a new house, but it was going to be right where it is right now. But the amount of work that goes into that, trying to form up a foundation underneath of an existing house, saving basically only the roof, the labor that's involved is just too much. Trying to do machine work inside of a house, or at least with a roof on it, it's just too much work. So you end up with a lot of labor, and it's more cost effective to just start over and build a new house. So that's what we're doing. But originally we had plans to do an addition, like I said, and to the point where we were actually getting plans for it, and then something happened, and then I just started getting the costs together, and I just said, you know what, we're better off if we can find a spot to build a new house. We're just better off doing that, because you're going to spend the same money, but you're going to have a lot of disturbance trying to live in a house while you're building an addition and then tearing down the old house. You're disturbing a family. They have nowhere to go for a year while this happens. So I just said, you know what, even if it's the same money, there's no disturbance. We can build this house, and the only thing we're going to disturb is like this first day where we're kind of like right down here, but after that we're going to be out of their hair. We're not going to be in the way of anything. They don't need to change anything. When the house is done being built, then they can move in, and there's no rush on anything. So that's what we're doing. So right now the building plans are still being designed. It's going to be a fairly small house, but it's actually going to be smaller than what they have right now. But what they have right now isn't very useful because there's no basement, and the house is just dilapidated. And they have a problem with rodents getting in everywhere because there's no concrete anywhere. So mice, rats and stuff, they just get into everything and they can't seem to keep them out. So one thing they really wanted was a full basement. So I believe that every house should have a basement. So I was definitely in agreement with them with that. See, we're already out of their hair here. So we're gonna be going up back about another 200 feet here. We gotta go up over this hill right here. But the first thing I gotta do is just get things cleared out of the way. This one's kind of over their yard right now, but I think I can push it over without disturbing anything. Build this house, just my company, not hiring anybody to do anything, except I might hire somebody to do some finish work, because I really just don't feel like doing the drywall and the taping. There we go. That was a really stubborn stump there. I don't know why. So one thing that we got to do, that hill goes up. It's pretty steep right there. We got to take that down 3 or 4 feet and push it down this way, because we got like a flat area here and we got a really big hump there. So we're gonna even it all out so it's a nice consistent slope going up there. But I'll explain more when I get to that point. Right now, at least I'm almost there, but I want to kind of clean up what I already did. Alright, so since I wasn't having much luck breaking those rocks apart, those rocks are pretty hard. So I think the plan B is going to be to just cover over top of them. It's not ideal, but I could be several days just getting that path cleared. So since I need to cut this area down anyways, I'd like to just dig into it now and see how much actual dirt we have before we hit rock. I'm hoping I got 3 or 4 feet, because then I could take it down 3 or 4 feet, take that all and bring it this way, and cover that whole thing so that I don't have to chip away that rock. If not, I'm gonna have to buy some stone and cover over top of that. But even if I buy stone for that, I still need to cut this down. So I'm very curious to see how this is gonna dig. Also, it's gonna tell me somewhat how it's gonna dig over where we're gonna put the house too. So it doesn't really look like a big hill, but this thing is almost at a 45-degree angle, so. Looking good. Even if we can only get 2 feet down, I'll take it. Right now we're at about a foot. Looks like we got about a foot. So we've made it up to the top level here. This is where it starts leveling out. Got the hill cut in, filled in over there. That worked out really good. I mean, I had giant boulders like this, but I was able to get them out without using the hammer. The hammer's pretty much useless with this stuff anyways. I don't know what exactly this stuff is, but it's pretty hard. It's got like little tiny like sparkly crystal type stuff in it. I don't know if it's granite or if it's like sandstone. I don't know that much about this kind of stone. I know that I've never seen it in this county before, so but it's all over the place. This boulder right here is pushing 5 feet long, 3 feet wide, actually 3.5 feet wide there. That's a pretty big boulder for that machine, but it did it. So I just need to continue cutting this in a little bit more over here, but not much, like 18 inches down to about nothing here. This is about where we're gonna stop. And so, yeah, let me take you over where we're gonna put the house. So anyways, the driveway is gonna continue on this way. I need to cut it in about 18 inches to about nothing here. And then there's just this little area to cut in right here. We'll take that, push it this way because there's a big low spot there. The driveway will kind of continue in, and that's where the house is going to be. There's going to be a walkout basement facing this way. I know that's not typical to have the walkout basement in the front, but everybody agreed that that's the best way to do it. So this will be like the front lawn right here. So we'll take whatever fill from that hill right there, push it down here when we dig for the basement. This will be the front lawn. And then the driveway will continue around the side here. So the house will be right here on this little hill, but the driveway will continue around the side. And then the parking area will be in the back of their house. And so right now I'm standing at about the back corner. So there's corner, 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 corner. So it'll be right here. So back here is a nice little level spot. That'll be their nice big backyard. They're gonna have a much bigger backyard than a front yard, but we could do some work on the front yard and also have a big front yard as well. But they'll probably have a little retaining wall here or maybe some decorative stone. But we'll cut into this hill, fill it in here, make a nice big flat open area. And so where we're losing all this brush, the driveway is gonna come straight this way, and we're just going to continue up this way and lose the brush all up there. And luckily there's not a lot of trees here right now, so we really don't have to plow down a lot of unnecessary trees to get back there. So that'll be nice and quick. So we're going to do at least 2 or 3, maybe even 4 parts to the site work here, because there's a lot of site work. We're going to be here for weeks doing site work because we're waiting for building permits anyway, so might as well just get the site work out of the way. But yeah, we got things like this. Got a lot of tree work to do. This is a big, giant, dangerous tree. It is completely rotted out. And there's a couple of these, but then there's also a couple of just 100-foot tall trees. Straight as an arrow, good for milling, but not great for dropping in the middle of the woods when there's no place to drop them without getting hung up. So yeah, we got like big pine trees all over that we got to drop. There's a bunch out back. You know, they're 100 feet tall, so if they're within 100 feet from the house, we got to take them down even if we don't want to, just because this is the time to do it, not later when it dies and then you got to take it down around the house. Do it now so that you don't have to worry about knocking the house. Anyways, we got a path to get the skid steer up here now, so what I'm going to do is keep cutting in this driveway coming up, and I'll put the fill in front of me, the good stuff without the rocks. I'll sort the rocks out, and then my brother Lucas will take, with the skid steer, take that stuff down and get the driveway finished from here down so that that's completely done, ready for gravel. But he wasn't able to do that before because I didn't connect it, but now it's connected, so now he can smooth this out as he's going and bring fill back and forth, because it's not very efficient for me to use this as a dozer. The blade isn't very tall. So I was actually going to do this part of the project with my dozer, but I'm glad I didn't, because there's just nothing but rocks and I just would have had nothing but trouble. The excavator, when you have giant rocks like this, the excavator is the only way to go, unless those rocks are on top of the ground, but in this case they're not. All right, at this point we got a lot cleared up there. I'd like to be able to bring my pickup truck up so it's not in the way down here. So I think what we're gonna do is have the skid steer switch to a rock bucket and start just getting all these rocks out of the driveway, just so I don't like pop my tire trying to drive over them, because they are pretty sharp. So we're gonna start right in front of my pickup truck, take any rocks that are right in the middle of the way, just bring them up, dump them off where we're putting a lot of fill, like all these right here. And that way we can start feathering in the driveway, connect it to this one. And there is that giant rock right there, which we're probably not going to do anything with for now. Side's not on enough. Lift it up and shake it. All right, so we're almost connected here. Once we're connected, we can make a path going up to drop off the brush up there. We've got a lot of trees to take down though. A lot of trees, like 25. Build a little ramp to get this thing out of here. I guess the highlight of this video is just going to be moving massive boulders around. I mean, we're getting stuff done, but at the same time, I think the majority of the work is just moving boulders around. All right, well, I was trying to get this rock out here, but I wasn't able to do that without going around back and getting that whole thing. So there's all those boulders. This area right here was barely worth getting. It was mostly boulders. But this is like where their front yard opens up. So we got to get this corner here. Got to get this too, right up to here. So I don't know if I mentioned this already, but there's a shelf right here with rock. And I just wanted to get right up to the shelf. So this shelf is pretty straight all the way that way. So I just want to get everything on this side of the shelf because this is like a natural retaining wall. nothing's gonna fall from here. You can see the way that the rocks are formed. So not only will it give you a nice looking rock, you could pressure wash that off and it would look pretty good, but it's like a natural retaining wall for the stuff that's above it. So I need to get that rock out. I need to get this tree out, but this tree's dead, so I'm not sure how soon I want to tackle that. But like I said, to get that rock out, I could not move it without getting behind it. So I ended up going over there, and I know you guys didn't really see much, but that's what I had to do. So now let's get behind that thing and see if we can loosen up that rock. I'm hoping it's pretty thin. All right, so I successfully got the truck in here, got the excavator, gonna bring it out. This is where I'm not really sure, although I made it in the driveway fine. I mean, kind of. It worked, but it was close. But on the way out, I think it'll work, but I don't know for sure. I'm gonna have to swing really, really wide, but I think it'll work. Alright, so now that we got the big excavator here, let's make a little quicker work out of this. So, these are all the boulders that I pulled out the other day, which, I don't know how much they show up on camera, but, you know, they're pretty big. I can push them around and pull them around with that thing, but the bigger excavator should almost be able to lift all of these. So let's get these out of here, and I'm kind of running out of place to put them. I had a big drop off over there, but at this point I've put so many boulders over there that we're encroaching on the neighbor's property line there, so we're gonna have to find another place to put all these. And I got a lot more coming out too. That one right there seems to be probably the biggest one so far. This one is like 12 feet long, like 4 feet wide, and that's all I know right now. I don't know how deep it goes. So once I got involved in these and that, I'm like, you know what, let's just bring the bigger excavator over. It was a pain to get it here. I had to drive all over the place just to get to the right roads to get here, because for some reason the roads right around this area are so windy and hilly. It was not a place to be using a lowboy. They're all single lane, no yellow line or anything. So but I did manage to find one route that works, and it barely works, and you have to go way around. It's probably 15 miles from my other job to here, but I probably went about 30 miles to get here, or more. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's get this stuff moved. All right, so we're done with the first stage of this project, which is going to be roughing in the driveway and roughing in the staging area. That's pretty much what I wanted to accomplish here. Now that we have an established driveway and an established staging area, we can focus more on things like cleaning up, and we can actually start putting some stone on the driveway. We can knock down a lot more trees and just have a place to, in general, just like knock them down too. That's always nice when you get a nice clear spot that you can actually start pushing the trees into the clear spot so they don't get hung up on other trees on the way down. Because not only is it annoying to try to clean up trees when they're in between other trees, but it's also dangerous because when you push down a tree in between other trees, it knocks branches down, and now you have not only branches that could fly back at you from the tree that you knocked down, but also the trees that it's hitting on the way down. So it creates kind of a safety hazard. So getting this staging area right here is essential to kind of moving forward, because now, I mean, every pine tree that you can see from right here needs to come down. All this and all that. Everything that you see there, all the way over to there, needs to be knocked down, and further back, ones that you don't even see. So now we can concentrate on pushing down one tree at a time, cleaning it up, pushing down another tree, and doing it in a safe manner. And we actually have a place to clean things up. It's nice to have a nice open area to clean things up instead of being in the woods with other brush around trying to clean stuff up. It also creates a safety hazard too by doing that. I mean, not really, but it's more unsafe than it would be if it was just in the wide open right here. So this part of the project definitely took longer than I thought, mainly because of these boulders, and this is only probably less than half of them. I still have a lot of boulders in that pile over there. I have boulders stacked up along the driveway. There's boulders all along there. So the boulders really slowed us down a lot. Like, this is something that you could normally come in and just in a couple days you can get this all knocked out, but we got just a little over a week into it right now, and yeah, I should have taken half of that. But I am convinced that that is sandstone after doing more research on it, and it does hammer, but it's not easy. It's not like shale or bluestone. So if we have to hammer something, I will, but otherwise I'm gonna try to just yank out the boulders. It seems to me like that's way more efficient than trying to jackhammer, unless you only need a little bit of it taken out instead of the whole thing. But definitely where we're going to be digging for the house, which is right behind that pile right there of logs, I just want to take out boulders. I don't want to be jackhammering anything, because it just seems like that's way more time consuming than just yanking out the boulders. They're in like a puzzle form, so that you have to take out one boulder to remove another one. So the one that may be sticking out of the ground may be locked in there by other boulders around it. So then you have to dig around and try to figure out what boulder is on top. And sometimes it's only hitting by a little bit, but you have to kind of feel things out as you pull the boulders. You can see them moving, and then you can see another boulder moving around it. And so you have to kind of figure it out as you're going. I may change my mind, but I think the next move here is actually going to be widening the main driveway coming up next to the house, because right now I can't get my truck or trailers through there. If I could actually come up here, and I could probably turn around my lowboy in here, but I mean, there's no reason for me to. I'm just saying there's enough space in here to do that. I got 100 feet that way and probably 75 feet this way, and I got that going up there. So if I had a truck and trailer that could come in like this, back up over there, and then turn around and go back, I could certainly do it with my dump truck and deck over trailer if I needed to, and of course my gooseneck with my pickup truck. But I can't get up here because the driveway at the beginning is not wide enough. So I think that's the next thing we're going to work on in the next video, and then we can move forward with cleaning up, taking down more trees, digging for the foundation, etc., etc. So I guess that's it for this video, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.